Welcome to Akasha Whispers, a podcast dedicated to exploring the mysteries and transformative power of the Akasha. I'm your host, Pooja Mahtani, and I'm so grateful and honored to have you here with me on this journey of spiritual discovery, healing, and transformation. In today's episode, I'll be sharing a bit about myself, my journey, my path, and the inspiration behind the work I do. This is an opportunity for you to get to know me a bit more and for us to hopefully connect on a deeper level as we embark together on this incredible path of awakening. Let me start by introducing myself. Well, really, who am I? I've shifted into different identities, different roles that I'll introduce of who I am right now. I'm a mother to two beautiful children. I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, and I'm a friend. And I'm also the founder of Akasha Codes, a sacred space that emerged from my soul's calling to help others awaken, remember who they truly are, and reconnect with the magic within. I hold many titles and certifications. I am certified in Master Reiki Healing, Psychic Mediumship, Akashic Records, Life Coaching, Intuitive Energy Healing, and last but not least, I have a Bachelor in Computer Science. All these modalities have shaped who am I, my practice, and deepened my ability to serve others. But in reality, my journey is more than a list of titles or certifications. It's a lived experience of transformation, coaching, mentoring, healing, and intuitive alignment. That is why I like to call myself a soul activator. So, what does that mean? A soul activator holds space for others to reconnect with the true essence, beyond the conditioning, beyond the fears, beyond the stories that keep us small. And I help people access their own inner wisdom, their own intuitive gifts, and their own soul's guidance, so they can step into the full expression and live a life rooted in purpose, clarity, joy, and truth. Akasha Codes is more than a business for me. It's a portal, a sacred container where energy healing, spiritual mentorship, intuitive insight come together to awaken the codes of remembrance within each soul I work with. Whether it's through one-on-one Akashic Record sessions, energy healing sessions, intuitive or life coaching sessions, or even if I work with you in a group experience like a workshop or a retreat, or maybe I work with you rebranding your company, rebranding yourself, website designing, book cover designing. My mission is always the same, to help you align with your divine essence and reclaim your inner power. My work is not about fixing, it's about helping you remember. My work is not about seeking, but helping you embody your true authentic self. My work is not about doing more, but feeling whole and helping you become and realize that you've always been whole. For as long as I can remember, I've carried a deep curiosity about the unknown and the unseen, about different beliefs, different cultures, and all the mysteries of spirituality, of religion, of the unknown. This curiosity has always felt like more than just an interest. It feels like a thread woven into my DNA, a sacred inheritance passed down through generations. I was raised in a family where religion and spirituality weren't just talked, they were lived. Our foundation was built on weekly prayers, gratitude, reverence for the divine, and an unshakable faith that anchor us through both joy and hardship. In our home, my grandmother and father leaned deeply into religion, honoring traditions with devotion and reverence, while my mother embodied spirituality and lived values. She taught me that it mattered more to be a kind and honest human being than to eat vegetarian on specific days. That it was important to recite prayers and follow rituals, but the intention was the most important part. This balance of devotion and compassion, discipline and freedom helped me see that spirituality is not about dogma, it's about connection, integrity, and mainly about heart. I grew up in a Hindu household, but I was also educated 10 years in a Catholic school. And this blend of religion, traditions, cultural beliefs, and rituals initially felt like a big contrast. Later, it revealed itself like a gift. I remember asking my mom if we were Hindu, why we were in a Catholic school, and why I had to study religion. And she always encouraged me to learn about different cultures just for knowledge, just for cultural growth. And I appreciated that from her. As I was studying, it also helped me recognize common traits that connect all paths to the divine. I still remember one moment vividly. The week it was my turn to take home a Mother Mary statue from school. Every student would host her for a few days, invite blessings into the home, and return the statue with a small donation. I brought her home and, half expecting hesitation, watched my grandmother welcome her with open arms. She placed her with care and lit a lamp and offered prayers. I shyly reminded her, "Grandma, this is Mother Mary. She's Christian." She smiled and said gently, "It doesn't matter. She's a mother goddess. Her energy is the same as Lakshmi, Saraswati, or Durga. She's a mother. She's divine. She's love." That moment has never left me. I also remember reading the Bible in school and feeling echoes of stories I had grown up hearing in Hindu discourses, in Hindu classes, stories of creation, of devotion, of sacrifice, of good versus bad. I would bring my questions home. My parents would tell me, we didn't ask so many questions to our parents, we just follow what they told us. But other times, my elders would lovingly explain that while each religion has its own language, its own form, and its own interpretation, the essence is the same. The core values, the truths, the energies, they're just expressed through different stories and names. All these early lessons became my compass. They form the roots of who I am today. Someone who tries to be open-hearted, open-minded, curious, and respectful of all paths. Someone who sees beauty in difference and unity in diversity. Someone who believes that spirituality transcends boundaries and brings us back to love, connection, and purpose. I was only 11 years old when I chose my spiritual master, my guru, my sai. In our culture, you choose one guru through your life, one path. Looking back, I didn't truly understand the depth of that decision. I was just a child, following my sisters as usual, but into a path they felt very drawn to. From the very first moment I met my guru a couple of weeks before, I felt something I couldn't explain at the time. There was this wave of pure love, peace, and complete unconditional acceptance coming from him. My soul recognized something in him that made me feel complete and loved, and it was exactly what I needed at that time. That choice became one of the most pivotal moments of my life. It marked the very beginning of my spiritual journey. And though I didn't know it then, it laid the foundation for everything that would come after. I've been truly blessed, not just guided by my spiritual masters and gurus, but I was embraced by an entire spiritual community, by their disciples, but also by the younger sons, the guides, who have walked beside me and my family, reflecting light along the way. I'll be sharing more about that chapter, about my guru, my sign, the teachings, the community, and how it all shaped me in upcoming episodes. There's so much beauty and depth in that part of my story, and I can't wait to bring it to you. As I step into my teenage years, a quiet sense of not belonging began to settle in. I felt a noticeable gap between my sisters and me, one that softened with time and thankfully disappeared as we reached our 20s. But back then, it felt wide. The childhood friends I had once shared deep connections, same interests, and lots of time together began to walk their own paths, exploring new interests, new friendships, becoming new versions of themselves, just as I was. It was a gentle yet inevitable growth from the familiar. I searched for new friendships, drifting to different social circles, hoping to find some soul level connection. But it never quite landed. Sometimes I didn't resonate with them, and sometimes they couldn't see me for who I truly was. There were even moments when I was asked to leave behind old friends just to fit into these new spaces. And even though at that time I didn't know it, loyalty and authenticity has always lived at the heart of who I am. So this was very hard for me to do. I chose to drift apart rather than lose myself. During this time, I found myself standing at major crossroads, choosing a career path, picking a college, choosing what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Yet, I had no clear sense of who I was or what I truly wanted. Guided by a friend I had met just a year before, I made a leap and enrolled in computer engineering in Spain. That first year was a whirlwind. The shift into a new schedule, new learning style, unfamiliar environment was all very overwhelming. But with the support of my family and a few kind of souls, I never gave up, and I found my footing and persevered. After graduation, I knew I wanted more. I felt an innate curiosity, a soul-deep longing to experience life beyond borders. I wanted to meet new people, explore new cultures, and maybe finally find where I belong. What I didn't realize then was that true belonging would never come from new places, new friends, or external circumstances. The belonging I was searching could only be found within. Still, I felt the call to leave the comfort of home, to step into the unknown. I'm the youngest of 3 siblings, so I was very protected and taken care of at home. But as I crossed the threshold into adulthood, I felt a deep pull to explore the layers of who I was beneath the roles, beneath the expectations, and beneath the logic that had shaped my earlier years. Life, in its infinite wisdom, met me there. It brought opportunities I could never have planned for. One of the first was an incredible chance to live and work in Peru for a year. Not long after, another door opened that led me to Canada, where I spent nearly 2 transformative years. These experiences were a dream in many ways, magical, expansive, full of beauty and possibility. But they were also hard, really hard. What no one tells you about stepping into your dreams is that they come with initiations. Living in an unfamiliar place, far from the comfort and protection of home, I was stretched in ways I didn't expect. Back home, I had been surrounded by care and comfort, meals made for me, a roof always provided, emotional support just a room away. But in these new chapters of my life, I had to find my own way. I had to figure out where to live, how to cook for myself, how to pay bills, and build a life from scratch in a completely new environment. It was overwhelming at times and incredibly lonely at others. But that struggle, that raw, real process of learning how to hold myself through discomfort, is where some of the deepest growth happened for me. I didn't know it at the time, but I was laying the foundation for the woman I would become. I have so many stories from my time in Peru and Canada, so many lessons, heartbreaks, breakthroughs, and beautiful synchronicities. And I promise I'll share more about this journey in upcoming episodes. But for today, I just want to honor that moment of crossing over, of answering the call to leave the familiar and trusting that growth, no matter how messy or hard, always leads us closer to who we really are. During this period of growth and discovery, I was always curious of getting answers from the unknown, getting to know that other realms and tapping into it. On one of my journeys back home, I received a profound gift from my parents. They were gifting me a session to be attuned under a revered Reiki master that opened my heart and awareness to the world of energy healing, a world that felt like both a homecoming and an awakening. It was my first tangible experience of something greater than myself, something both ancient and deeply personal. From there, my path unfolded organically. I dove into practices like Silva mind control method, meditation, and other holistic teachings that nurture my intuition, expanded my consciousness, and helped me understand the interconnection between mind, body, and soul. Each step revealed another layer of truth, another layer of healing and remembrance, which would later guide me towards my purpose as a healer, as a teacher, and a soul guide. There's another chapter of my journey that I can't leave out, even if I'll save most of the story for another episode. And that's the path that led to my marriage. It was a journey marked by divine timing, trust, and deep surrendering. Sometimes life places someone in your path who is meant for you, but not in the way you had expected, not in the timing you would prefer, and certainly not in the way your ego would plan it. For me, this connection came through the guidance of my own spiritual master, my guru. My husband entered my life quietly at first as an introduction, became an acquaintance, and over the years, that thread slowly wove itself into friendship, and eventually into a love that was ready to commit. It took time, it took trust, and it took surrendering again and again to a process I couldn't control. We thought that finding each other was the biggest challenge, but planning our wedding quickly showed us otherwise. Everything that could have gone off script did. The location, the date, presence of the people we love most, none of it unfolded as we had envisioned. Every step was a lesson in letting go, a practice in choosing trust over fear. And yet, somehow, our wedding happened. Not in the way we planned, but in the way that maybe was always meant to be. It was through the guidance of my spiritual master that the wedding occurred. And that's a story for another day. Marriage, of course, has brought its own initiations, its own set of divine blessings and very real human challenges. Whose doesn't, right? But one of the greatest gifts of our union has been our 2 children. We were blessed with 2 healthy, big-hearted souls who have been my greatest teachers. They've been my reason to grow, my reason to heal, my reason to become a better human being, and to become the kind of mother and woman I hope they will one day be proud of. There's so much more to share about that journey, about love, partnership, motherhood, and all the roller coaster of learning that comes with them. And I promise we will dive deep into that in future episodes. Because surrender, love, and trust doesn't end when you say, I do. In many ways, that's where they truly begin. Going back to my professional journey, it began in a space that couldn't have felt more different from the spiritual world I now live and breathe. I train and work as a computer engineer, immersed in a field where logic, structure, and precision were paramount. I excelled technically, thrived in problem solving, and found satisfaction in building systems that work. But over time, I began to notice a quiet truth. While I was successful on paper, something vital was missing. I craved deeper connection, not just with systems, but with people. I found myself most energized not by coding or debugging, but by the moments of human interaction. Mentoring a colleague, supporting a client through a difficult issue, or offering a listening ear during a stressful launch. It became clear that my heart belonged not in fixing machines, but in supporting others. This realization guided my shift from system administration to customer support, where I was able to blend my technical skills with emotional intelligence, and I could step into roles that allow me to lead with compassion, empathy, and presence. Helping others navigate complex challenges, both personal and professional, became one of the most fulfilling aspects of my career. I saw firsthand how being present with someone in the moment of confusion or frustration could shift everything. I began to realize that healing, in its essence, happens in spaces where people feel seen, heard, and held. For over 15 years, I built a successful career in the tech and support world, leading global teams, solving high-pressure problems, and growing alongside incredible talented professionals. But even amid that success, a quiet inner calling persisted, a knowing deep within that I was meant for something different. A life beyond the traditional script of career, marriage, kids, family. A life of soul alignment, of spiritual service, and authentic expression. That whisper eventually became too loud to ignore. And what began as a career in technology evolved into a journey of soul reclamation. One that brought me here to where I am today, to this sacred path, and the work I now offer through Akasha codes. It was in 2016 when I hit what I initially thought was a classic midlife crisis. Looking back now, I recognize it for what it truly was, a personal and spiritual awakening. Life as I knew it felt like it was unraveling. I was balancing a demanding career, raising two beautiful young children, and silently grieving the loss of someone I deeply loved. On the outside, I held it together, but the inside, I was struggling, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. When I opened up about how I was feeling, the response was well-meaning, but not what I needed. I was met with reminders to be grateful. After all, I had a good, thriving career, a loving family, a stable life. You have everything others could ever want, they said. And they were right. I was grateful. But that didn't erase the aching feeling inside me that something was missing. Gratitude didn't cancel out the quiet voice within that kept asking, is this it? Is this all I'm here for? What I was yearning for wasn't more in the external sense. It was more meaning, more alignment, more soul. I needed to feel fulfilled not just by what I was doing, but by who I was becoming. I realized that If I truly wanted to show up for the people I love, my children, my partner, my community, I first had to show up for myself. And that meant healing deeply. So, after a long and hard thought, I gave myself permission to step back from my career and make space for what I had long ignored: my well being, my healing, my inner truth. The first thing I did was tend to my emotional health. I returned to my roots and spent a month with my family back home in Spain. This time, I allowed myself to be nurtured, to truly receive the love and care of my parents, my sisters, and my loved ones. I let them step in, take over, and help care for my children, offering me small but much needed breathers I had not even realized I deeply craved. Being surrounded by loved ones during the holiday season, Christmas, New Year's, and Reyes, was deeply nourishing. I watched my children light up with joy as they experienced these beautiful celebrations for the very first time, fully immersed in tradition, warmth, and what felt like an endless shower of gifts and love. Seeing them embrace the magic of family, culture, and connection filled my heart in a way I didn't even know I needed. And this time, the joy felt even more sacred. Just 6 months earlier, I had returned to Spain under very different circumstances to grieve and honor the passing of my beloved Vadimama, my grandmother. That visit had been heavy, full of sorrow and emotionally exhausting. But this visit, was healing. It was light, joyful, and life-affirming. It reminded me that grief and joy can coexist, and that coming home can be a balm for the soul when you allow yourself to receive it. Next, I listened to the quiet voice within that had been urging me to care for my physical body, a voice I had ignored for far too long. For years, I had felt that something wasn't quite right in my body, but I kept pushing it aside. I was too busy in a 24/7 role, busy being a mom, busy running a household, too busy to prioritize myself. But now, in this sacred pause, I finally made the time to go to the doctor. Unsurprisingly, I learned I needed surgery, a procedure I had unknowingly delayed. That could have led to serious complication if I had continued to wait, just as it had done once before my marriage. It was a wake-up call and a powerful reminder my health mattered too. Once I began to care for my body, I turned inward to care for my mental health. I created space for stillness, for reflection, for self-inquiry. I gave myself permission to feel everything I had suppressed through years in the name of responsibility and resilience. And from that place of healing and clarity, I immersed myself in courses, webinars, YouTubes, and transformational teachings. I began peeling back the layers of social conditioning and rediscovering who I truly was beneath it all. One of the most pivotal experiences during this time was attending A Fest by Mind Valley. Being surrounded by a global tribe of visionary thinkers, entrepreneurs, healers, and heart-centered leaders was nothing short of life-changing. These were people who had accomplished so much in the outer world, yet they remained deeply committed to their inner growth. They talked about purpose, energy, legacy, consciousness. They lived from a place of both gratitude and bold aspiration. And most importantly, they made me feel less alone, less crazy, and more connected to something greater than me. The courage to evolve beyond what was expected, to embrace a life that was both successful and soul-led, gave me the permission I didn't even realize I was waiting for. That experience cracked something open in me. It affirmed that the longing I felt wasn't a failure to appreciate life. It was an invitation to fully embrace it, to step into deeper authenticity, purpose, and sacred service. And that moment became a defining turning point on the path that would eventually lead me to create Akasha Codes, a space for others to remember their truth too, a space for others to not feel alone, a space for others to know that they're not crazy. It was some time later I discovered the profound power of the Akashic Records, a limitless source of wisdom, healing, and insight. The Akashic Records hold the blueprint of your soul's journey, offering clarity and guidance on your path. When I first accessed the Akashic Records, it was life-changing. Long-standing questions about my relationships, purpose, and direction began to make sense. Initially, I used this wisdom for my personal growth, but I soon realized I needed to share it with others. I earned my Global Healer certification and began offering Akashic Record readings and healing sessions, and the overwhelming response from clients confirmed this was my true calling. That's when I founded Akasha Codes, a sanctuary for healing, for transformation. Through my work, I help clients access the wisdom of the Akasha to uncover insights, heal wounds, and awaken their gifts. Each session is a journey of reconnection, clarity, and empowerment. My life has been one of surrender and trust, evolving from traditional corporate roles to a path rooted in spirituality and service. This journey has taught me that true fulfillment comes not from external success, but from deepening our connection with ourselves and the universe. Thank you for joining me in this episode. I hope you enjoyed learning a bit more about me. And through this podcast, I want to share not only my journey, but the spiritual and practical tools and teachings that have transformed my life. My vision for Akasha Whispers is to create a space where we can explore spiritual concepts, Akashic wisdom, energy healing, and more in a way that's practical, inspiring, and deeply resonant. Whether you are a seasoned seeker or just beginning your spiritual journey, this podcast is for you. Together, we'll explore the infinite possibilities within the Akasha and uncover the unique gifts that reside within each of us. Thank you for tuning in into another episode of Akasha Whispers. This is just the beginning of our journey, and I'm so excited to continue exploring, growing, and awakening with you. Stay tuned for practical tools, inspiring stories, and deeper reflections in the episodes to come. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.